Morning, it's the 30th of June and very sad news to report. Kauto Star, one of the greatest national hunt horses of all time, is dead. Kauto Star, the brilliant horse, there he is at Paul Nicholls stable, and those are all his wins next to his stable door there. He fractured a pelvis in a paddock and we understand was put down. It is so sad this is news coming in the last half hour. 5 King Georges, 2 Gold Cups, 4 Betfairs, 2 Tingle Creeks. Clive Smith, his owner, is on the line. Clive, first of all, what happened, first of all?
Well, it's all very, very sad. He was put out to grass as in fact he always was. Even at Paul Nicholls, he was out for weeks at a time out there with, in fact, he had Denman with him most of the time. But this was an occasion where he was out this week in the lovely sunshine, and I was away at the time. I saw him on Friday, but he by that time he'd had what we thought, or what appeared to be, a fairly mild injury. But things gradually changed, and I have the vet's report right in front of me, but which is very well, brilliantly handled by Hattie Lawrence of Valley Equine Hospital in Lambourne. And I'll just read it out. I think it's worth just reading what she said.
Please do.
She said that he was actually referred by the normal vet that Laura Collette has down in Lambourne, Tom Campbell, who's very able, but he was referred to the Valley Equine Hospital, which is in Lambourne. And it says here that he didn't actually respond. He wasn't responding to treatment on Thursday, Friday, the other veterinary surgery, and so they placed him here. And various complications came out over the weekend, and although he made an improvement and rallied, as he always did in races, he rallied, so that on Monday morning it was very bad, and I was further informed. I was away, as they say, and then I came back down on Tuesday afternoon as best I could from Scotland, and when I got there, and the decision was taken with Hattie Lawrence, who was excellent, to euthanize the horse on 3 o'clock yesterday.
I mean, I can tell in your voice, and I know this is very difficult for you. That must have been the most difficult decision in the world, or was it? Because you had to say that's it. Yep.
The real injury that has caused the problem. He had a neck injury and damage to this various sort of veterinary terms here, but it was he was injured at the base of the neck, probably between C6 and T2, which is obviously their terms. And this, in fact, as it gets worse, it does eventually it affects the spinal cord, which in the end paralyzes the legs. So in actual fact, when I saw him yesterday afternoon, he was lying there, fed him some grass and stroked him and tried to last few minutes with him, and he was. It had to be taken. The decision had to be taken, but there was no other course of action to take. I was unfortunately not able to stand, and that was the problem. And but he also had the pelvic injury, but the actual neck injury was the one that really finished him off, I'm afraid, with the paralysis of the rear legs.
It really is tragic news. You know, I'm sitting here talking to you about this. He was your favourite horse. He was one of my all-time favourite horses. Where'd you start? 5 King Georges? Do you remember all those boxing days at Kempton?
Oh, absolutely, yes. I mean, every moment. He's been a fantastic horseman. It's when you think back of how brave he was, the heart of a lion, and he was an absolutely incredible horse. Had a lot of speed, he went 2 mile Tingle Creeks, and also right up to the Gold Cup, which he had stamina as well, and he's an amazing horse and a beautiful nature, and he will be sadly missed by a lot more people than we could ever imagine. Through the response when I used to go around the racecourses, and people used to come up and talk about him all the time, and he really has been well loved by everybody, and I'm sure will continue to be so.
That is a lovely thing to say, and that is so true. He transformed racing. You know, there was something about this horse. He was a people's horse as well, wasn't he?
Absolutely. I mean, he definitely was, and he's he just loved the attention. He was a little bit of a show-off, and he'd always liked being stroked and given lots of polos, like obviously so many horses do. But he was a particularly an extrovert type of horse, and he was so talented as well, which makes it all the more difficult to take in. I just feel so sorry that he hasn't had a chance to have a longer life, but there we are.
It must be very sad for Paul Nicholls, the man who trained him so brilliantly, and of course the man who rode him so outstandingly well, Ruby Walsh.
Yeah, I also think that Clifford Baker must take an incredible amount of credit for looking after him so well at Paul Nicholls' yard, and
yes.
He was with him all the time. And it was only Paul Nicholls' reaction to various things that were going on that caused the move, and it was a very sad time. For 3 years.
Yeah, Paul. Clive, we're just struggling to hear you a little bit on the line. So,
okay.
Can I just say, what your greatest memory of all time, was it the Gold Cups, the King Georges, the Tingle Creeks, the Betfairs? What for you, when you look back and you tell your grandchildren about this horse? What will you tell them?
Well, I just tell him that's what I'm saying. He's so brave, and he had everything, really, didn't he? He was a complete racehorse. He had speed. He had a great urge to win. He wanted to not let a horse pass him, and he was very, very talented. And despite all the silly things that were said, he was a great jumper and very fast jumper. And I had many good memories. So after all, he won 16 Grade 1s, all at Chases, which I think the Chase Grade 1 record is his. And he, I suppose, lots of memories. But his comeback after the Punchestown incident in Ireland was when he won that Betfair Chase for the fourth time. And he was absolutely amazing in 2011. And then he went on to win the fifth King George. So they were absolutely tremendous. Showed his resolve and how talented he was and how brave he was. So it was all tremendous. So many people and so many friends, they just can't forget how good he was. And it's just so sad that it's happened this way.
Clive, thank you very much indeed for taking time to join us.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
Bye.
We had so many great times together. I used to interview him and all those King Georges, and it's so sad to hear, I remember one day standing on the top of the gallops at Paul Nicholls, standing with Paul's dad, and this is going back a few years, and, they go up the gallops, and it's sort of like going up the side of a mountain, and by the time you get to the top, you're sort of puffing a bit. And I said to Paul Nicholls' dad, I said, have you got any horses that can go up here 3 times without even puffing? He said, we've got one. He said, could be good, this horse. We've called him Kauto Star. Yeah, he was exceptional. Let's remind you of some of his big wins. Do you remember this win in the 2-mile champion chase down at Downroll? There he is. Let's enjoy.
In third is China Rock, but Kauto Star hard at work in front is Ruby Walsh, but Andrew Lynch is equally as hard here on the near side with Sizing Europe, is trying to challenge every inch of the way. Kauto Star by 2 lengths, and the JNY.com Chase is beginning to see it out now and draws clear from Sizing Europe as they race up towards the line. 4 King Georges, 2 Gold Cups, and he's regained the JNY.com Chase for Paul Nicholls, Clive Smith and Ruby Walsh. His 21st success, Kauto Star.
First of 23 successes, and the man who rode him in the Tingle Creek, Mick Fitzgerald, is on the line now. Mick, I mean, this is devastating news. How are you taking it?
Well, it's very sad, Tomo, because, I just want to remember the horse in his days, as I'm sure everybody does. And, that's how I want to remember him. I had an unbelievable spin off him in the thing. He felt like he was going around in second gear, and it's one of the fastest 2-mile chases of the whole season.
We're watching him now, looking out of his stable door, next door to Paul's office there. I mean, just looking at him now, you can't believe he's gone. He's such a great horse. What made him so special? What made him a horse in a million? Because he was.
I just think the fact that he found racing so easy almost. Others around him were all struggling, and he just looked like he was on his own. I think he was brilliantly trained by Paul Nicholls to get a horse to win those sort of races so consistently is testament to Paul's ability to get the job done. But let's not forget Kauto Star, who did the racing, and it's a sad day, you know, that he's gone. But, you know, like I say, I'd like to remember him in all those glory days.
It's the best way, you have to. What about Ruby? How will Ruby be feeling this morning? I know it's his job to ride the horse, to ride the winners. There's no more professional jockey anywhere in the world. He'll be feeling it this morning, won't he?
Yeah, of course he will, because the horse has been a part of his, well, unbelievable career. You know, to have won that many King Georges on a horse, to win Gold Cups on him, and all those other big races as well. You know, it leaves a bit of a hole, but, you know, I think it's important that we remember him as he was, a true champion.
He was an absolutely true champion. We got the pictures of him now. Good job you weren't standing behind him there. And he was a people's horse. He crossed the line, didn't he, from a horse who might win a good Group 1 or Grade 1 or whatever. This is the horse who crossed the line because he was extra special, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, he dug deep when he needed to, and the roar that he got, and the Ruby Walsh's celebration after he won that Gold Cup back again, I think showed you what it meant to everybody involved with the horse.
It's lovely. Here he is walking down the high street. You know, and I think the horse is loving. Everybody's getting photos. The horse loving every second of it. I tell you, we're supposed to be hard old journalists and all that, but this has hit me quite hard, and I know it's hit a lot of people in racing quite hard as well. Well, remember, what was your favourite memory of him? Coming up the Cheltenham Hill, what was it?
Yeah, well, my favourite memory of him, Tom, was him winning the Single Creek with me on him.
Yeah, true,
of course.
True.
But at the same time, I think when he won back the Gold Cup, having been beaten the previous year by Denman, I think that was glory.
Yeah, it was special. I'll never forget the 5 King Georges. Just look at this. I'm just reading it out, Mick, while you're on the line. Obviously born in France in 19th of March 2000. 23 wins. What was it? 15 Grade 1s from 41 starts. The Gold Cup when he won it back again. 5 wins in the King George at Kempton. 4 in the Betfair. 2 in the Tingle Creek. And the best time form rating 191. Career earnings 2.3 million. But he was the horse that everybody loved. He was Christmas for five years, wasn't he? I tell you, we could go on and on. Anyway, that is the news. We've lost Mick because he's obviously as devastated as we are. So the breaking news is that Kauto Star has been put down after sustaining an injury in a paddock, and that is the tragic news we're breaking this morning.